Okay, everyone in the building who's interested in learning how to optimize their brain, please come to this presentation here now. We are starting in 60 seconds. Don't worry, big group or small. It's actually sometimes nicer if it's a small group because then you can use more chi for a better super brain environment. Yeah, it's all good. So hello everyone. My name is Chris Wiley. I'm a neuroplastician, master brain trainer, crazy Shaolin disciple, the real deal Shaolin from China, Tai Chi master in the making, the most ancient forms, and when the Chi takes over, it gets mighty crazy and pretty super awesome. I'm also a speaker, educator, writing several books, and write an extensive blog on optimizing the brain, mind, and body. And yes, if I may say so myself, I am the ultimate brain man. Because I rewire and optimize people's brains as fast as your brain can fire. That is super fast. You see, with the right tools and the right approach, change and transformation in your brain is rapid and exponential. And we're constantly bombarded with endless information and content without ever learning how to learn, how to use our super brain, this awesome computer, to process, organize, and systematize all the information. We're never taught how to use our brain and leverage the processes of our brain to develop super learning abilities, super memory, and perform at peak level. And that's essentially what I do, is I train people and teach people how to run and optimize their brain. And as a neuroplastician, I help people build stronger, smarter, more efficient, more electric brains, so that we all can optimize our most precious resources, which are number one, our brain power, how much juice, energy our brain has. Number two, our mental bandwidth, our cognitive capacity, our working memory, our ability to handle and navigate the mountains of information. And number three, neuroflexibility, our ability to be creative, flexible, fluid, and constantly be generating new ideas and new and better ways to solve our problems. Because in any system, in any situation, the person who has the most flexibility neurologically and behaviorally is the one who's going to adapt best and thrive. This is true in school, in sports, in business, in all of life. And really, the secret to sustainable success is transforming your brain and mind into a focused, creative, solution-generating machine that's always solving new problems, overcoming new challenges, and is constantly feeding you new and better ideas to get new and better ways to solve your problems. In my work, one of the things I do is use QEEG Brain Mapping to see what's actually going on in the brain. And here today, you can go over to the booth to see exactly what's going on in your brain, and then perhaps if you want to oxygenate your brain and get some extra healing going, brain and body wide, you go for a dive in hyperbaric chamber. And really, the brain mapping is so key because measuring and optimizing your brain, measuring and quantifying your brain is the key to optimizing your brain. So you have to know where you're starting from to know which direction to go to get to the destination of brain optimization. Because we all want to be focused, calm, clear, creative, performing at our highest level, but each person, we all have a unique starting point. We all have a unique brain, and so the path for each one of us individually is going to be different. And each year you go to the doctors to check in with your health, or businesses do audits to check out the business, So perhaps it's time for you to check out your brain. Is your brain overactive or underactive? Is your brain hyper-coherent, locked and stuck in its patterns, such that when one region of the brain lights up, all the other regions of the brain light up like a Christmas tree and they're talking at 1,000,000 miles an hour? You know what I'm talking about? You're on the phone with someone, they just keep talking on and on and on, and just won't shut up, and they're talking so fast, 1,000,000 miles an hour. Well, this is what's going on in a lot of people's brains. It might be going on in your brain. Does your brain just go in loops and loops and loops, circles and circles and circles, just spinning its wheels? I see a lot of nods, yes. You see, this neurological inflexibility, the rigidity, which we can see on brain maps, right here. So you see on this brain map, you see all those red lines, the hyper connection. This basically just means that when one region of the brain lights up, the rest of the brain lights up like a Christmas tree, and it gets locked in and stuck. And this is characteristic of a brain that is stressed, which underlies virtually all neurological and all neurodegenerative conditions like ADD, autism, Alzheimer's, mental illness like depression. The brain is stressed, locked up, and inflammation's typically running rampant, and depending on the networks which are affected the most, which are most dysregulated, will determine which disease that manifests. So everything's about signaling in the brain and body. And at the extreme, the most profound disease where signaling goes awry is cancer. And the biggest thing about your brain is that it's this ultimate super antenna, a super master transmission station that receives all the energies and frequencies externally. So like from the sun, from the earth, from the cell phones or microphones here, which are frying your brain, which is why I put on that wireless mic. Like, damn, I can't even wear this thing. I'm already noticing it's affecting my brain. To things that you put in your body. All these different energies get transmitted into the brain into energy flows, hormones, neurotransmitters, physical energy flows which can't even be measured yet. So this is why having something like a brain map and like a full hormone panel are big keys to seeing where your brain and body are at. Because did you know there's over 6 types of ADD? And as you'll see on the screen here, you see this big blue portion here in this beta frequency. This means when this person tries to focus, because beta waves dominate when we're trying to process information, solve a math problem, figure out, a solution to all these business problems. When this person tries to focus in beta, their whole brain shuts down. So the harder you try, the slower the brain goes. There's over 6 different types of ADD alone. And there's definitely way more than that, but there's 6 that have been categorized. So you may have a blue brain, a deficient brain that's low in dopamine, low in brain voltage. Or you may have a brain that's hyper-inflamed, hyperactive. You may be a jackrabbit, where one region lights up and the other ones just light up. You see, you could be the super tortoise blue brain, or you could be a jackrabbit. In either case, your teacher's, going to say, this kid has ADD, or you have ADD. Same condition, completely different brains, and so the approaches should be different. And then you think about autism. Why is autism called a spectrum disorder? Because behavioral problems, the neurological problems, vary across a whole spectrum depending on how the hurricane of factors have altered brain development. So the biggest key for your brain is checking out where it's at. So if I'm working with a kid with ADD or autism, the last thing I want to do is blanket their islands of brilliance, because the alterations in development do lead to hyperconnection and islands of brilliance. So the key is how can we develop the flexibility and brain power in that kid's neurology so that they can flexibly adapt and communicate optimally in the situation they're in, right? So it's kind of important to see where the rocket ship in your head is at. And if we're all trying to change and start a new health program or a new mind program, starting is always the hardest part. Do you know that a rocket ship uses more fuel in the first 3 minutes after takeoff than it does during the entire voyage around the Earth? And so, starting is the most important key, and we all need something to launch us through our current neurological patterns to get momentum moving in our favor. And this is why, in my work, I always want to be stacking the deck to your advantage, putting as many variables in your favor as you can. So with a complete neuroplasticity program, like rewiring the brain with the neurotechnologies, and I think I have some photos here, with like technology like neurofield, which uses pulsed EMF frequencies where we can put the coils over specific brain regions and activate and then train them. Or technologies like this, neurofeedback, which simply observe your brain's brain waves, and whenever there's imbalances in brain activity, a kid will be listening to music and the music will be interrupted. So the neurofeedback is essentially dancing with your brain and teaching it to reorganize. Because we can't just go in a mirror and check out, hey, how you doing, brain? Like you can just comb your hair. You see, there may be some hairs out of place in your brain. You know, you may be due for a haircut, ladies and gentlemen. This is neurofield. And you gotta have fun too. You know, smiling, laughing. It opens up the brain to new learning. You look at people, they're in business, and they're so serious, so busy today, guys. Or you look at the teacher, you must learn this. And they point at you and scare the shit out of you. You know, I wouldn't be in learning mode for that. You gotta be happy, playful, and fun. And that's one of the biggest stories on how I got here today. This is the neurofield I was talking about. Specific coils to activate specific brain regions. And then hyperbaric oxygen chamber. This is my friend Luke. So we have a light and sound technology on his brain and training him into an alpha super focused state while going in a hyperbaric chamber to stimulate new neuron growth to fuel those new patterns of functioning in his brain. He has Crohn's disease, and his transformation's been pretty profound. Those are the photos we have here. Now, the biggest key, like I said, is the system is the solution. There's not one thing which is the magical pill, but rather the combination, the system, which reveals, and unleashes the magical pill within. Someone who I've studied a lot is Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein said that one of the most powerful forces in the world is compound interest. Now, when we think of compound interest, we usually think of our business, money, and investments. Let me tell you, the real money in compounding is when you compound increases in different aspects of your being. You continue compounding and compounding and compounding them over time. That's how I got to where I am today so fast. Literally optimizing each variable, because for you, I don't know which variable is going to help you break through. It could be the juicy brain power nutrition, it could be the brain power, it could be the brain technologies, it could be Tai Chi Qigong, but I know if I put it all together, you're going to be more likely to succeed. And from an early age, I've always been really super curious about the brain. Like literally super learning, super brain man. Like how fast can I learn? How much can I remember? How fast can I get things done? We all want to get things done fast, yes? Oh, yeah, of course, right? Time. Busy. Now, the thing is with our brain, when our brain works right, we work right. But when our brain's in trouble, boy, are we in big trouble. And how I got to where I am today is, most of my life, I've had a brain that's been in trouble. And my entire life, I've been a AAA, hyper-competitive, but also very stressed, intense person, prone to anxiety and panic attacks. And in third-year university, I was hospitalized after 3 straight panic attacks on 3 straight LSAT exams. And as we see here on this photo, I was like 150 pounds, completely emaciated, broken down. And my whole life I dealt with really profound anxiety, emotional eruptions. And in fact, growing up, one of my solutions that kept me somewhat controlled was I'd go to my beautiful grandma's house here. She'd cook me the juiciest brain power nutrition dinner. Intuitively, I knew salmon was good for my brain. Then we would, relax. She would give me a head massage, stimulating my brain, relaxing my body. Then we'd have a warm bath. And that whole key there was that she was able to change my brain and bring me to a state where my body was relaxed and mind was able to shoot ahead. So this is how our brain works best. Body relaxed, mind shooting ahead. Super learning state for kids, for Olympic level athletes, for business executives who want to create and perform at the highest level. Okay? So, going through third-year university, I was in an economics business program, had a 4.9 GPA. My eyes were set on Harvard Law, Harvard MBA. That was my image of success. And so I started studying for the LSAT right away, killing practice exams, getting 180 perfect scores on practice exams. So I booked my test right away. And first exam, as usual, was hurried and stressed, late of course, and sit down in the exam. And the proctor says, "You have this amount of time," and then as soon as the clock started, boom, full out adrenaline, panic attack. The adrenaline was just pumping through my whole body, sweating at the seat of my pants. Brain and mind racing, eyes just blazing across the page, nothing getting in. Have you ever been that when you're in a stress state and your eyes are just going, nothing's getting in? Yeah, that was happening to me, and I was basically freaking out. I could see all my dreams, everything going down right in front of my eyes. And I'd never quit on any academic test ever. And I had to walk out of that exam. And that quitting really rocked me to my core. Now, being the AAA competitive guy that I am, my antidote was to work way harder, to amp up my intensity, my ambition, willpower, and grit, you know, the vital traits to self-transformation. Yeah, well, I actually got to the point where I had so much determination, I had studied every single freaking LSAT material there was in 3 weeks, so I had no fresh material to go through. And I got to the point, second exam, same thing happened. Now, my entire university career, and before that, my whole life, I'd been a naturalist. Big into the health, a personal trainer when I was 16, big into the mind and learning. And during my whole academic career, I was hanging out with medical students, PhD neuroscience students, and they all abused things like Ritalin, the amphetamines, drugs, and they'd always told me, "Oh, Chris, you got to try this. You know, this is going to help you super focus for endless hours. It's going to help with your anxiety, and it's going to lock you in." That was the only true thing they said, lock you in. So after years of declining and saying, you know, no, thank you, you know, my brain is good, it was semi-good. I felt somewhat desperate after those 2 LSAT panic attacks, and whenever we're desperate or we're a determination machine, like I was, or still am a determination machine, whenever we're desperate, in a state of desperation, or we're locked in our patterns, we do stupid things. So I decided to give Ritalin a try, the amphetamines a try, and it ended up sending everything overboard. The anxiety, rigidity, way overboard, because as it turns out, my friends were telling me to do 3 times the recommended doses that anyone should be doing, let alone me. You see, most people in all places, whether it's in business, whether it's in school, whether it's your kids in the classroom, don't understand and appreciate the long-term effects of messing with the dopamine system in your brain. And the whole process for me, I was sent way overboard. And it was exhausting financially, mentally, emotionally. I plowed through all my savings in 6 months. Because here's the key, when you mess with your dopamine system, it leads to impulsive behavior. It leads to bigger things, more precarious behavior, bigger drugs, sex, illicit behavior. Now I'm lucky that I was able to keep my wits about me and didn't get too deep. But now that I know better and transform myself, it's kind of my mission to help save people the suffering I went through. Now the interesting thing was this whole time was I was so tense through everything that I had extreme neck tension, migraines, it was difficult to focus. So I was getting massages like twice per week. And I now joke about it with the doctor I work with that I had the Chris Wiley massage membership. And one day, my massage therapist changed to a new clinic. And at this new clinic, I saw this little boy with sensors attached to his brain. Just like that little boy. That little boy. And I saw that, and I was like, whoa, that's cool. I gotta find out more about that. So immediately after the session, I spoke to the doctor. I felt I could trust him. I now work with him, do all the brain mapping with him, Dr. Peter Duchesne, and I completely confided in him. And as soon as he told me about the brain mapping, I was like, dude, I'm in here tomorrow. And I was in there tomorrow. I booked the brain mapping and a neurofeedback session right there. And as it turned out, because I was so focused on my LSAT, I'd missed all my schooling. So now it was coming around final university exams. And I was in deep doo-doo if I didn't write the exam. That stellar academic record, you know, could have been completely tarnished. So it just coincidentally happened that I had my brain map and the neurofeedback and had the first exam right afterwards. And when we did the brain map, it revealed that I had done damage to my prefrontal cortex, which was in complete deep healing mode, like someone who had a concussion. So basically, on this graph here, imagine the front part of the brain completely blue, deficient, and then the anxiety centers, which are in the back of the brain, and the temporal lobes, which control creativity and temperament, they were lit up like red alarms. So my brain, not only were the executive decision-making centers not working, my whole brain, anxiety and arousal, was completely lit up. And so after the brain map, we did my first neurofeedback session designed to increase the functioning of the frontal lobes for more cognitive control and cool down some of those regions of the brain in the back, which were really hot. And after that session, I felt noticeably calmer, more collected in my shoes. So when I thought about, you know, these exams were coming, what the heck am I going to do? And I remember I had read the textbook a few times at the beginning of the exam. And so I said, what the heck, I'm just going to go in and write it. So I cruised into that exam, economics game theory final exam. Luckily it was all application. All the other students with their narrow focused stressed brain were all focused on the details. And I go in there 30 minutes, killed the exam 99%. And because everyone did so crappy, my grade got weighted up and basically earned the attention of a lot of professors, which opened a lot of doors. And basically, from that point, I started apprenticing with Dr. Duchesne, doing the neurofeedback, the brain mapping, the hyperbaric chamber. Basically, everything I do in my practice now, I bought and now use to transform people. And it got to the point where I expanded my degree to now a degree in neuroscience, and I had completely changed as a person, and everyone noticed this. I had gone from urgency, worry, and hurry mode to having no time for anyone, to being in the library endless hours, to now I was kicking ass in the classroom, spending like a fraction of the time in the library, and I was going out with people and having fun at night and rebuilding relationships I'd let go. So people started coming up to me, my classmates, it's like, Chris, what can I do for my brain? You know, what do you eat before your test? How do you work out? What type of mind exercise do you do? It's like, okay, let me design you a brain optimization game plan. I started doing that for a lot of my friends. And they're like, dude, this stuff's way better than the drugs I was given. And I started getting them focusing really well. Then I got to the point, I leave London, come back to Toronto, and it's like, hey, I got so many people who are seeking my advice for how do I optimize my brain to focus better because I'm bloody tired. So I started running my own business. And literally everything I've done to transform myself, from all the brain technologies, the Western science technologies, I now use. And I've also pursued all the most ancient Eastern practices. So anything that powerfully and profoundly transforms the health, oh yeah, I've sought it out. So I've since become a disciple of the Shaolin Temple. As I said, you can come over to the booth, you can even see the certificate, you can come over and map your brains and hop in the hyperbaric chamber. I would. I used to pay for that and wish, oh my God, doc, please leave me in for an extra 5 minutes. I hope he forgets about me in here. You know? Now I have people come and they say, I gotta go. It's like, are you kidding me? You gotta stay in there as long as you can. Get the benefit. Yeah, so basically, through this process I've learned and sought out all the best ways to improve the brain. And one of which is nutrition. And we all love nutrition. I want to take the perspective of the average consumer, because I was the average consumer through it, and I've been through it all. So I want to take the perspective of the average consumer, what the nutritional landscape looks like. So first we're told to eat a low-fat, high-carb, high-heart-healthy grain type diet. First, vegetable oils like canola oil, which my Omi used to use, were supposedly good for your brain. Now they're apparently bad. Now the news says that some fats like coconut oil, which were once bad, are now good, really good for the brain. And then there's some diets like this ketogenic Atkins diet, which says load up completely on protein and fats. Is this doctor nuts? Then there's this new paleo thing, you know, lots of meat, lots of fat, gotta be totally crazy. Some people say that egg yolks are the best ever, others are saying they're the worst ever. Oh my God, only do the whites. Cholesterol, that's bad. Fat, that's bad. Salt, that's bad. Red meat, that's bad. Dairy, you have any clue if dairy's good for you? I got no clue. I don't even know anymore. But at least I can have my bowl of whole grain cereal, yes? Have you guys read the book Wheat Belly? Wheat's apparently worse than the stuff being dealt on the street. You know, the best thing since sliced bread turns out to be the worst thing since sliced bread. You think it's really possible that wheat could be actually killing people and frying their brains?
Yes.
Well, you can go take a look. Yeah, and then there's this new thing on the mold and mycotoxins in my food and on my vegetables, the anti-nutrients. Now I can't even sit and enjoy a bowl of kale and a salad because apparently there's anti-nutrients, which may or may not matter. And then there's things like our beloved coffee. Some say it's good, some say it's bad. You know, what the heck am I going to do, right? Well, there's a lot of stuff, yes? Right? So because of this confusion and complexity, this is why it's been my mission to slice through it all. So real quick, I can give you the keys to brain power nutrition in 3 minutes. Who in here is a mom or dad? Right? When your baby was born, they were this beautiful chubby little thing, yes? And then, a few years down the road, that baby starts walking, starts talking, and gets thinner, right? Yes? Where did all that fat go? To the brain. Now, did you know that the brain, by dry weight, is 50 to 70% fat? You didn't know? Do you know that your brain only weighs 2%, 3% of your body weight, but has 25% of the cholesterol? And you know those folks who say everything's in the genes? You know a chip is 99.9% genetically the same as you? And you look at a chip when it's born, it's this anorexic little thing, and it has the size of an adult brain. Whereas that human baby has this tiny little brain, comparatively to what it'll be, and it looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Right? So all those fats, the subcutaneous fats, convert into ketone bodies. Ketone bodies, which then go to myelinate and form the structure of the brain. So have you ever seen a cable on an electrical wire? Basically, myelin is the cable around your nerves, that which helps to conduct the charge and protect your nerves. And women have less myelin than men, which is why women get stressed more easily, which is why men, you should give women a break. Because all the stressors, the man-made EMF, the cell phones, the TV, the blue light, the emotional stressors, the relationship stressors, family stressors, women got to take care of business. I know, I see it. It's a single mom, it's not just a kid. All these stress women out more. So the key is the brain 70% fat. You got to supply the high octane fats. You got to get coconut oil in there, which has lots of MCTs, which directly go to fuel the brain. You need to eat lots of seafood, DHA. There's over 3 pounds of this one fatty acid in your brain and nervous system. 3 pounds. You have a cell membrane. Half the cell membrane is this one fatty acid, DHA. You think it's important? You think if DHA is low that all your brain cells are going to be functioning at less than optimal capacity? You bet. Now, can you just take the supplement, or you need the full evolutionary package form with the full alchemy of nutrients? What do you think? Full alchemy of nutrients, yes? Yes. Yes. So this is my man Justin. He's rocking the best coconut oil I've ever tried. I put the coconut oil in all my Super Brain beverages, from the Love and Libido Mocha to the Hormone Heaven beverage to your Super Brain coffee. Yeah, and it's good stuff. So coconut oil with lots of other superfoods in your morning beverage is a great way to A, build the brain, and B, provide the highest octane fuels. So the fats you want for your brain is first is lots of seafood. Ideally, you want things like oysters, which have iodine and DHA, all the brain select nutrients. Because iodine, that's the queen. DHA is like the king, iodine's the queen. She has all those valence electrons which protect DHA. What happens when people are low in iodine? Their thyroid's kaput, they get cysts in their breasts, which could develop into cancer, so iodine's kind of important. And your thyroid is like the gas pedal to convert all the LDL cholesterol and that beautiful coconut oil into those anti-aging, juicy sex steroids. Now, do we have 2 more minutes? Do you guys want to hear more juicy brain stuff for 1 more minute? Come on. You give me 30 seconds, 30 minutes, and I need to optimize your whole brain right here, right now. So here are the bullet points. These are the fats you need. Ideally, get some seafood. Okay, now if you have a decent immune system, you can eat seafood, the metals and algae, they won't be a problem. Your immune system will clear it. You have this lush ecosystem, it's no problem, you'll clear it out. Then, you can supplement with fish oil if you want as a supplement, not a primary strategy. Now the fats for fuel for the brain are the coconut oils, the MCT oils, and then other fats which are nice antioxidants and good for the system are like the olive oils, avocados in the summer, leave those in the summer. One of the best fats for your brain is ghee, clarified butter. So hundreds and hundreds of acres of green grass concentrated into the mill, then purified into the ghee. You know how ghee is this rich golden color? Because it has all that light energy, green light energy, which means it has more DHA. Green algae in the ocean, fish convert into DHA in the proper position to integrate in our brain. Now on land, you want to eat more greens because they have the highest frequency. And I think we're done. I'm getting booted off the stage.
216.
You got to just come to booth 216, and I honestly would have a conversation with me, and we can figure out how to optimize your brain. And yeah, come image your brain today. This will be charged hundreds of dollars to map the brain. Today we're doing it for free. You'd be silly not to map your brain. And if you want to learn some crazy Qigong and Tai Chi and transform your body, kind of like that, then you probably want to work one-on-one with me. All right? And if you want a personally tailored brain power nutrition lifestyle game plan for you, then I would book a one-on-one consult with me. Because I work with the doctors, I work with the Shaolin crazy monks, and I can marry it together so that it's something understandable and actionable for you, which is the key. So, hope you enjoyed it, folks. I look forward to seeing you at booth 216.